thank you to the organizer for inviting me to this conference and giving me the opportunity to discuss about the urgent and very challenging issue as the systemic risk in Europe. The way I'm gonna discuss about this topic is to telling you about the project, the Citizenship project, of which I am the primary coordinator. This project is funded by the European Union under the 7th Framework Program. Well, before presenting you the content, the objective, and the structure of this project, I would like to come back going to 3 years ago, because 3 years ago came up the idea in writing this project. Well, what we seen 3 years ago was the Greek financial turmoil in 2010, with the sparks in risk perception by the market. In other terms, what we observed was a feedback loop between sovereign background risks. That event, that economic and financial event, marked a new direction in the financial crisis started in 2007, and which achieved a systemic dimension with the Lehman crash in 2008. This feedback loop between sovereign and bank risk give a new dimension of the economic and financial system as a complex economic system with a huge interconnection. And this fact was the inspiration of writing a report I called, like a joke, CIRTO, because CIRTO is the acronym of Systemic Risk Tomography. And there is a reason why tomography enters into this title I will explain later. And these 10 pages of this project, this report, was about thinking and rethinking the economic financial system. If a complex system to be thought as it were a biological entity. Well, let me show you this picture about the HIV-infected cell, because this is the real analogy with the economic and financial system we have in our group. Because in our group we are working with a new technology, new machinery in order to explain, detect the interconnection within the economic system. So, look at this image. Let's think about a system, a financial system, a complex system composed by a through interconnection with banks, financial intermediaries, corporations, and sovereigns. And looking at the red parts of this cell, we can imagine that these parts were, say, financial intermediaries or corporations which give the risks within the system. Let me show you this picture, because this picture is the mathematical explanation of what we have in mind. And this is the financial network topology, with very similar to the previous image. And then this is one simulation of our models in order to explain why interconnections are very important to detect, but also highlighting the main parts at risk within the financial system. So, the core idea in this project was to look at the financial system as a unique system composed by 3 main parts: sovereign bank with our financial intermediaries and corporation. And that report was thought to identify the main risk sources coming from these main parts of the complex system, but also in order to provide the right measures of prevention and intervention. 2 sides of very important question involving systemic risk. Keeping in mind one important thing. So when you think about mathematics, econometrics tools, which are the tools used by ECB and other policy institutions to detect risk signal within the system, you have also to keep in mind some signal, sometimes neglected tipping points, neglected risk signal, as it was the case for the Greece. Greece, all within the sparks in risk dynamics in 2010, But remember that in December 2008, this article by the International Herald Tribune wrote about a riot in Athens, in Greece. And the journalist put a very topical issue concerning the societal problem, which maybe give an idea of the economic problem inside of Greece. And indeed, 2 years after, we have the real economic problem in Greece that sparkled also among the European nations. So today, but also what about the next 3 years? And this is the reason of the CIRTE project. So that report wrote, as I said to you, in 10 pages, like a joke, entitling CIRTE project became a real project, funded by the European Union, started in March of this year and then in 3 years. This project is structured as I show you about the idea and thinking about a financial system. So we focus on the European Union by exploring the risk connection, exploring the risk relationship between and among 3 main parts of the system. So there's a complex system of sovereign, banks and other financial intermediaries, and corporations. Having 2 main objectives. The first main objective is the realization of an overall comprehensive early warning system in order to explore the risk connection, having 2 points. To be used as a risk barometer, detecting the main risk side of the complex system, but also using as a system of a rule of thumbs to give an advice to the policy institution to take a right measure of prevention, but also intervention. The second objective is the policy side of this complex financial statistics, econometrical procedure to inspect the risk connection. And this is a more practical and real objective, which is indeed the main mission of the policy institution, which is about the realization of normative superstructure about the governance structure within the European Union, but also exploring the macro and micro-prudential responsibility. And we name this objective as the CIRTE, the sort of a collection of recommendation, also expressed in terms of early warning system prescription, that is looking at the main risk drivers, for example, correlation in the price of the financial system. For example, looking at the exposition banks have towards the government debt, but also in terms of the fragilities inside the private corporations. So we have both dimensions handling with this systemic risk, from micro to micro, and vice versa. The structure of our consortium is composed by 5 universities. The University of Brescia is the lead university because, as you know, I'm the primary coordinator and also the scientific coordinator of this project. The other universities are the Centre National de Recherche Scientifique and the Paris 1 Sorbonne. This is the second unit. The Athens University, University Ca' Foscari Venice, and the University of Amsterdam. 5 universities, which are also the beneficiaries from the European funding. But we have also a sort of shadow consortium, the advisory boards, we split in 2 divisions. The first one is the scientific division, in which we include prominent scholars from academia, which collaborate day by day with our unit, but also act like a main advisor to go into the real context of our research agenda. So suggesting the main way to inspect in order to give a practical answer to the big question of systemic risk. The second division is the policy division, including mainly all the important policy institutions, ECB, CRB, IMF, and so on. I will come back later because this is a very important part of this consortium. Well, the team. We have this slide reporting the names of all persons working in the consortium. Well, you know, as EW association, maybe it's important also for you telling you the parts of the women involved in this project. About the 40% of our research meeting are in good place, and the other scientific person is Monica Miglia from the University of Ca' Foscari. But also the responsible of the communication is a woman. Okay? So women are indeed involved much deeper in scientific communication and the management of the entire project. Well, let me spend some words about the advisory board, because two divisions. The first one is scientific division, including, as I said, prominent scholar from the academia. Some are involved in writing papers, but also in thinking about new methodology to inspect systemic risk. As for example, Balduzzi from Boston College, in thinking about new methodology to inspect sovereign risk, but also corporation, and so on. But also, and this is very important, the unit working with the University of Venice, because we have Andrew Law from the MIT, which is well involved in systemic risk, and we are working with affiliation with the MIT together to think about not only systemic risk in Europe, but also all over the world. And indeed, MIT look at its financial system as a whole, not only looking at Europe. Just to give you a list of the other prominent scholars, these are very experts from the academia, just to keep your attention of one important name, who is Robert Engel, Nobel Prize in 2003. He is from New York University. He's joined us in June for the first international conference of CIRTO, and we are working together with his group in thinking about new methodology to measure systemic risk. Policy division, including all economists pertaining to all important policy institutions. The main part of these researchers are from ECB, and indeed we are a joint connection with the ECB. I'm working with the ECB Commission devoted to the systemic risk, which is the MARS network, Macroprudential Research Unit, that has the same objective like CIRTO has in terms of producing new methodology to explore systemic risk, but also giving a policy structure in order to detect the main governance recipe, but also in terms of which is the main formula, for example, in order to implement the banking union inside the European Union. Okay? This is the main context of this project. We will end in 3 years after March of this year, because we started right now in March of 2015. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Professor Savona. We're glad to join us for the Twitter later on. So I'm now so happy to invite on the stage. I'm so happy that you're here because we are so interested in your project, Women Area, which is a sort of innovative and alternative way of connecting women all over Europe. So I'm From this particular point of view, from your precious observatory, what do you think is the right point of reaching a complete identity for women up today, and which is the future for integration of women in different culture and different way of being and with different way of acting and being women in Europe now? Please.
Well, it's a really hard question. I didn't prepare it. But I think we have to be ourselves. We are women, and we have to be women. And we have so many values inside for professional and an economic world that that's what we have to do. Being pure and be women, and just help other women to achieve their career goals, you know, and be in internet, have our profiles in LinkedIn perfect. I will ask you many commitments today for that issues, because there is only a 35% of profiles women in LinkedIn, and if we want to do business in the economy today, we all have to be in LinkedIn and in Twitter. And that's the only way we're going to do business in the world today. So after this, and thank you, ladies and gentlemen, to invite me. I'm very proud to be here today with you all. Let's open my presentation. And thank you especially to the EWMD. I'm so proud that a Spanish girl is here. And thank you, of course, I don't know, where is Elizabeth? Okay, thank you, Ali, to invite me. And let's start with some data in Europe. Well, if we want to be the change, I love this phrase from Gandhi, be the change you want to see in the world. We are ladies here, we are in management positions. We're important ladies for many countries in Europe. We almost, I am sure, any one of us has achieved our career goals. So we have the commitment to help other ladies worldwide to do so. Okay? So let's start with some data. The problem, we have 60% of the university degrees are held by women, but only 15% of managers and executives are women. You know all this data? 20% of entrepreneurs, and we have the 80% of domestic responsibilities are held by us. So how are we going to change this? This is my presentation for today. I brought you some data of Europe. Okay, the 60% of university studies, the orange are ladies, and the gray are gentlemen. 56% of postgraduate studies, and 43% versus 57% qualified work. This is a good picture, but you know, the slides are going to pass, and we're going to get very worse. Yes, so 37 only of 10 years of qualified work, 28 of MBAs. We don't have time, so we don't do MBAs. And believe me, for an executive position, women have to do an MBA, because if not, they're not going to give us that possibility. The 9% of functional management, financial, words, and so on. So this is getting bad. And well, they brought me this data yesterday, so I decided to put on to see the gender and global gender gap in 2003. We have Iceland, Finland, Norway, and Sweden in very good positions. The next one is Ireland, Denmark, Switzerland, Belgium, and so. You know, Spain is not even here. We've gone to the 11th position to the 33. We did a really good job in 6 years, and in the last 3 years we've gone down. Italy is not also here. It has the same problem, and so on. So we have to do a lot of work here too. And this is, look how terrible this is. You know, only 11 board of directors, this is only in Europe, only 8% of senior management, and only 5% in leadership. Wow, this is awful. And you know what? This is the leadership that all companies are looking for the next 10 years. Reliance You know, women are so prepared for changes. This is in natural behavior of women. Optimism. I've seen so much optimism these 24 hours I've been here in Brescia. Many women I met to you yet. Is highly contagious, and women has that too inside. Passion. You know, the Mediterranean women are very passionate. So let's put this together and work on it. And peaceful minds. We want leaders for peaceful minds. Self-confidence. We have to work a lot on this. Empathy. This is the first behavior of human being. We are so empathic. Babies, we have sisters, we have sisterhoods and so on. Let's use it and innovate it. This is what companies are looking for. Okay, let's continue. And the next step is digital economic and network. And let's see why. This is our market. We have 700 million women like us, we are today, worldwide. We make the 80% of purchase. And you know how much is this in the market? $20 trillion. And 28 trillion for next year. Wow, the world is for us. And you know what's happening? We're not where we have to be. So let's move on, okay? Always with you guys together with us. Please. So, and this is a huge opportunity. Today is a strong growth of women and technology. We have 30 billion of daily users of social network and internet. Excuse me, internet, okay? 1.5 billion daily users of social networks. The global industry for internet is growing 50% every year, and the forecast for the next 5 years is going to be 19. Women are more active users of social media. In Facebook, we are the 58% of users, and in Twitter, it's coming up for 64. You know, here today, there's only 4 women tweeting. Where are the rest of you? You know, we have to change this because all Europe should be knowing that we're all together here discussing all this. Because the impact, you know, if all of you had about 5,000 followers, we could have an impact of 1 million people knowing that this is happening in Brescia. Okay? That's why it's so important. I'm talking about your companies, your business, okay, and the growing of women in the world. And LinkedIn has shown a tremendous performance, but only 35% of users are females. Hey, where are the ladies? Where the business is coming in the world? Okay, we have to have a change here too. So, these are the 3 commitments for technology I bring today. LinkedIn. How many of you have 100% of the profile of LinkedIn complete? How many? Well, it's not quite wise. 10. 80%? Okay. So we have to have a perfect profile because, you know, the talent today is searching in LinkedIn in the 80% of the occasions. So lady, we have to be there for be a supplier to change our job, to buy our company, to do business. Okay, the second one, Twitter. I have in front of me 100 ladies that you're an expert, gentleman, excuse me. You know, I always talk to ladies. That they're looking for experts, and each one of you is an expert in their material. So let's show the world we are the best experts on what we do. And in Twitter, we can spread out and shout it out loud. Okay, and in groups. There are groups in LinkedIn, there are groups in Womenalia, there are groups everywhere, there are blogs. So let's participate. It's just a small start, 1 hour a week. And if we don't know how to do this, let's ask somebody to do it for us. A little budget to start with a really good strategy, with some objectives, and let's go on. Okay, and you're going to see why the world has changed huge change in the last 10 years. And I'm going to show you the biggest changes. But if you're not in this transport, I don't know how to say it in English, you're losing a huge opportunity in your business and your professional career. 10 years ago, computers. Today, we have a computer in our hands. And women use it a lot. I'm absolutely sure that you're using WhatsApp all day long. Okay, so we can sell things, we can do a huge change here. Before we have bibliographies, we show ourselves through pictures and everything. Now we have Facebook. 1.2 billion people with a Facebook account. Before, news, local news, CNN, whatever, newspapers, and now it's Twitter. When a newspaper that is printed at 3 in the morning is for sale, you know, in Twitter, it's immediately. So this is a huge change for the news. Pinterest, this is a woman, also social network with pictures and phrases. So this is a really good showcase for our companies and our jobs. Before, magazines, we love magazines. Of course we buy still magazines, they're very important. But Flipboard, it's made for 2 euros or 3 euros or 4 in Amazon, and we can do our own campaign to sell our books. Before, the coupons, Check Families, and now it's Groupon and all these companies that it changes the way of buying things and offers. Before, the showcase, we love that too. Okay, we like going through Reds in Milan. We're in the place of the fashion, no, in the city of, in the country of fashion. But this is changing dramatically because women don't have time to go out. The German girls know a lot about this because it's the first country in Europe that buys through direct marketing before and now internet because they have worse weather and so on. Okay? And you have LinkedIn. Talking about talent, before it was the CV, now I don't hire anyone in my company that doesn't have a LinkedIn profile. And many companies are doing like that. And you know, if you go to some meetings, you will always see who you are going to meet and where you are going to work and how are you going to sign a contract. So we have to be here. And I wanted to bring this also to see countries sharing knowledge. You have the source down here, and you know, I wanted to give a big applause to the Italian because they are in the 10th place, okay? Okay, then the next Europe country is Spain, Belgium, Great Britain, France, Sweden, Hungary. Germany, it's a little bit far. But you do another great jobs in other matters. Okay. And this is, I'm just going to talk about the movement that we started in Spain. I'm going to talk about just 5 minutes about Womenalia and a huge commitment I'm bringing today for all you ladies and gentlemen. Okay, sisterhood. This is, I think, the 6 things we have to do for sisterhood to change things worldwide. Women in companies networks, you know, for medium or large companies, this is critical to do inside network, to talk with all women and all men that are inside companies, so we search for opportunities and, you know, and grow in the pyramid. Brands, buy brands who are women friendly. If they don't have a diverse plan, just don't buy them. We have the power of purchase. Let's use it. Suppliers. If we know some woman is in trouble and we have the same offer for a supplier and one woman and one man, let's help this lady. If they are exactly the same price and the same professionality, okay? Of course. Mentoring. Many of you here today can be mentors. You have great careers. I've talked of many of you. Let's help one woman, one mentor, once a year. You can do it by Skype. And you know, it's incredible the changes that we are making by mentoring. Entrepreneurship. Well, this is not for many of us, but just for a few. If a woman presents you a new project and she needs finance, let's help her with seed capital. Just little few amounts of money can help her to launch the project. It's probably that's not very easy, that's not so easy, but let's give her the opportunity, or let's help her to present people with money. And of course, involve men in all this, because they live with us, they are our parents, our brothers, our professional compadres, like we would say in Spain. So let's involve them, because if they are not involved, things won't change. And since you've seen that, the technology evolution, the problems we have in Europe, the problems we have worldwide, that's why we launched Womenalia 2 years ago, to change the world. And I'm going to put you a small video so you understand what it is. I see this video and still, my first. So, to see you, this is our reality, it's not a dream. I brought you some numbers of where is Womenalia today, after only 2 years of launching. Okay, in the startups, we share everything, okay? 33 employees, 73 shareholders, 250,000 users, 1.7 fundraising, 1.5 revenues, millions, okay, 350 clients, 390 experts, 407 employment offers that women has been able to change the job, and more than 2,000 impacts to do business together and change their career, 52 suppliers, more than 1,000 media presence. In 2013, we are now in Spain, USA, Mexico, Colombia, Brazil, and Russia. The problem we are not in Europe is because we have 27 different languages. And from a technology startup, you have to have teams, programmers for each language. So if we have to have 4 or 5 engineers for Germany, for England, for Italy, it's impossible, it's unsustainable. So that's why we decided to go to the Spanish market and to the English market. And Brazil and Russia is because there are investors very interested, okay? Awards, well, the world is liking a lot this project, okay? Astia, the next web, well, and for me the most important one is that we've been in the Cartier Initiative Awards. It's a huge award, and last week the Capital Magazine, the best tech Spanish project for 2013. And this is so beautiful that I want to just for 2 minutes talk about Womenalia's movement. Together we will make a world where any woman can achieve their career goal. This hashtag, Be Womenalia, has already had an impact of 1 million women, and you are going to understand why. This is the symbol that is going to change the world. It's a W for women, and it has 3 commitments. That's what I'm going to ask you today. If each of us here can help 3 women and ask these 3 women to help another 3 women and another 3 women, you know what is going. It's just an email, a telephone call, a meeting. Very, very easy things, small things. You know what happens with the W? It changes to a butterfly. And you know what the butterfly effect is? When you have a lot of butterflies, they can make a tsunami together with the wings, okay? And you know what can happen. We are a lot of women helping a lot of women, that there are thousands of butterflies that makes the W of women worldwide. In Spain, we started the movement 7 months ago with 1,400 participations in our annual conference, 8,000 of them in streaming. And in 1 week, we received 1,670 emails of women that were helping another woman. Because world needs women to work and to change things, to be more profitable and to incorporate the values in the economic system. And just in 1 year, if all of us help 3 women and so on, we could be helping 20 million women worldwide. That's the butterfly effect. This is not a dream, this is our reality. We are over 250 professionals growing together. Thank you and be happy.
So I've been hit by the differences of the speeches that they are. Gerard, for this present our speakers as a sort of souvenir from this day with us. So I think that they want to take a picture, a shot with us, so I put my side, so please the full speakers. They have been told that there's no Twitter because you have been too exhausted for us, and so and full of information. So thank you very much. Join us with a coffee break if you like. And I would like to remind you to register over there for the groups, for the workshops in the afternoon. Please, there's someone maybe didn't make, and please we invite you to register for the